Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. A continuation on the same topic over maybe the last 4 or 5 videos, Democrat desperation, mixed in with something a little bit different. Democrats really are the embodiment of the most far-fetched, outlandish right-wing memes. They are literal memes. I mean, they fit the exaggerated tropes perfectly. And this story from the New York Times encompasses those two concepts perfectly. First of all, desperate Democrats ramping up their attack on any perceived political threat, and one of the newest, biggest threats for the Democrat establishment, the based right-wing Latinas and Latinos, the based right-wing Hispanic politicians and voters that are rising up against the Democrat establishment. People are probably just so sick of hearing the word Latinx, to the point where they went down right-wing rabbit holes and started to realize the truth, the real truth. And of course, the second concept, these leftoids, and especially these lefty journalists, are literal memes. I mean, the whole thing about calling people like Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens white supremacists, or Larry Elder a white supremacist, the idea of calling minority individuals white supremacists and far-right extremists and racists has to A, be one of the dumbest things ever, and B, it's a left-wing meme and a left-wing trope that continues to prove itself beyond just a right-wing meme or just a right-wing joke, but rather very, very real. Let me show you guys this article from the New York Times. It's a complete joke. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Republican Representative Youre Flores from a formerly Democrat district in southern Texas, right on the border, a heavy Hispanic district. Well, for the most part, Youre Flores shouldn't be a really big story, outside of the fact that she won an upset victory in a relatively small district and is showing a political trend. It shouldn't be this massive story that Democrats are obsessed with, or even Republicans. It shows a trend, and obviously it's something that should be talked about in terms of the electoral landscape and the nature of this current political shift that we're seeing within voter blocks and demographics. I mean, sure, we can have that conversation, but the idea that Youre Flores herself should be a major focal point of writing articles or news coverage or headlines, it just doesn't really make sense. Outside of the celebration of her victory and Nancy Pelosi shoving her young daughter like the witch that she is, there's not really much to talk about when it comes to the actual politician herself. But of course, what Youre Flores represents is a clear threat to the Democrat Party and their historic control over the Hispanic vote. And so that makes Mrs. Flores public enemy number, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. Trump, Ron DeSantis, Elon Musk. Joe Rogan seems to be in good favor these days, so I guess she'll take number 4. Youre Flores, public enemy number 4. The New York Times writes this article, "The Rise of the Far-Right Latina." Representative Youre Flores is one of the 3 Republican Latinos vying to transform South Texas politics by shunning moderates and often embracing the extreme. And so the meme once again comes true that somehow regular American, normal human being Youre Flores, who happens to have conservative values, also according to left-wing ideology and definitions, BIPOC woman of color Latinx Youre Flores happens to also be a far-right, what I can only assume neo-Nazi or white nationalist, because that's what you assume when you hear the word far-right. I mean, what an absurd notion. Larry Elder runs and his campaign is picking up serious steam, and somehow, overnight, the moment Larry Elder becomes a political phenomenon that can actually challenge Gavin Newsom, the LA Times runs the infamous article that Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy, an absolutely disgusting thing to say. And now Youre Flores, who represents a clear threat to the Democrat establishment because she's red-pilling Hispanic voters to finally pull out of the liberal hive mind of the Democrat plantation, well, it's the rise of the far-right Latina. I mean, just disgusting. Vying to transform South Texas politics by shunning moderates and embracing the extreme. I mean, give me one example. Lefties, of course, on Twitter are probably spamming the keyboard. Well, she reposted a Q conspiracy. At least that's the allegation I've seen. I haven't actually seen it. Yeah, that's just being a normal human being on the internet and posting, reposting things, having ideas, having shifting ideas that change. You know, being a human being. That doesn't make you a far-right extremist. James Woods had a good response. Of course you're scared. James Woods mocks the New York Times for calling new GOP Representative Flores far-right Latina. You guys scared? She ran on family, hard work, and patriotic values. Oh right, of course you're scared. Because that seems to be it. The Democrats are in fact scared. They're not scared of Mayra Flores, a rather insignificant cog in the massive political machine. I mean, not to demean her or anything, but I mean, she represents a small district, as I stated. She's not running to be president, leader of the Senate, or Speaker of the House. She's a brand new junior House member. Anyways, let me get back on track. I'm getting distracted. They're not scared of Mayra Flores because of who Mayra Flores is or her extremist ideas and the negative impact that she could have on democracy. They're scared of Mayra Flores because Mayra Flores stands in the way of their open border policies. A Southern Texas Latina slamming Democrats and their non-existent immigration policies? That sounds like a major threat to the Democrat plan to import millions of new Democrat voters. Mayra Flores leading the demographic shift that could hurt Democrats in Sunbelt states and beyond for generations. That's something to be scared of, and of course, they're scared of the traditional conservative values that she represents because that's actually appealing to Hispanic voters and just regular people. They're scared of more average, hardworking, regular Americans running on family, hard work, and patriotic values, as James Wood said, and winning. As they continue to push the other direction, people like Mayra Flores and others are the counteracting force that's getting in the way of their power. Mayra Flores is something to be scared of. Oh, she's just terrible. She's a demon, the Democrat media tells you. Meanwhile, we're supposed to believe that someone like Tiara Mack, a Democrat representing District 6 in Rhode Island, well, Tiara Mack is unhero.
So you ever have those moments where you see something and you're like, oh, that's the future. That's what it looks like. We saw Tiara Mack head in the sand, twerking, and we thought, man, that's the Democratic Party 2020. So not everyone liked it, and she responded this way on Twitter, quote, damn, twerking upside down really makes the conservative, unhinged internet accounts pop off on Monday. And nevertheless, she wrote, I'm really excited for the House sex ed bill hearing later today. Teaching comprehensive, queer, inclusive, pleasure-based sex ed was a highlight of my time teaching.
I mean, the media seriously wants you to believe that public twerking sex ed teacher Tiara Mack is somehow a hero, such a strong, incredible woman that should be revered. Meanwhile, Mayra Flores is what you should fear and should be scared of. I mean, just think about that. Just put that into perspective for half a second, and you see exactly what's going on here. The reality is, Democrats have become so increasingly extreme. They've become so crazy. Frankly, I'm not going to be nice anymore. They've become such degenerates, so far off the spectrum, I mean not even on the spectrum anymore, especially culturally, that when they look at a regular person who's a mom, who's probably religious, family values, conservative, socially and financially conservative, just a regular, normal American with a good value system and a strong family, they view that as extreme because they've gone so far off the rails, so far across the spectrum, that when they turn around and look at just regular people, they say, whoa, that's extreme. No, that's not extreme. That's normal. That's called a regular, everyday American. Someone that's relatable. You're extreme, pushing for adult entertainment and all of this lunacy to be shoved in children's faces. I'm going to leave it at that and not really go into much more detail. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Regular conservatives and moderates are somehow extreme, says the people who are crying for socialism. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are just normal people, and you're the cringeworthy communist revolutionary. Give me a break and have a little bit of perspective. These Democrats are unreal. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.